If you've been following me from the beginning, then you must probably remember my first ever flight review that I made of EasyJet by flying their A320neo from Manchester to Dalaman. However, this was filmed during the midst of COVID, when majority of onboard services were pretty much non-existent, so there's limited onboard services and face masks were mandatory. Today, I'll be flying EasyJet once again to really see what the airline is like now that everything is back to normal. So come join me as I fly them on board one of their few Airbus A321neos that are based in Manchester as I fly from Malaga in the south of Spain to my hometown of Manchester. My day started in the early evening at Malaga Costa del Sol airport. The airport was quite busy when I had arrived, which may be due to more cheaper flights operating throughout the night. Good afternoon from Malaga Airport, where today I'll be flying EasyJet on board the Airbus A321neo from Malaga to Manchester. The check-in was quite empty at first, however the queue rapidly grew. Luckily for me, I had purchased 2 extra cabin bags on booking today's flight, which gave me access to speedy boarding for free. I was able to use this to my advantage by using the priority speedy boarding queue at check-in, which made the process seamless. After check-in, I headed into security, which was extremely busy with many long queues. However, this did move very fast. The terminal offered a large variety of shops and restaurants and a few areas with good views of the apron that you can use for plane spots, with even better ones upstairs where some restaurants are. Soon after, I headed towards the B gates where my flight was leaving from. This is where I had to pass through passport control, which was very quick and there were barely any queues. There were also separate lanes for EU and non-EU passport holders. Once arriving at the gates, I checked flight radar to see that my aircraft was still 30 minutes away from Malaga on its inbound leg from Manchester. Just before the aircraft had landed, the gate staff began queuing people up for boarding, and lucky for me, I was second in line thanks to my speedy boarding. Literally just after the plane had parked up, we then proceeded to board and end up queuing once again in the node just before the jet bridge as passengers were still disembarking off of the aircraft. My aircraft for today is a 6-year-old Airbus A321neo, which is one out of 19 in the EasyJet's fleet and one of the few based in Manchester during the summer. Also, can we talk about this illegal site of a Ryanair with a jet bridge attached to it? On board there is a very dense configuration of 237 seats split up across 30 rows in the newer EasyJet seats in the plain black colour scheme. I sat in seats 10F as I really wanted an engine view as usual. The seats have quite a limited amount of legroom, which can be tight if you are tall due to the dense configuration, a small seat pocket including the safety card and onboard menu, a small tray table which was a little bit dirty for me, and finally a small coat hook on the side of the seat. The tray table also had these grooves that are there to support your devices and acts as a phone holder, which is pretty cool, and there are also individual air vents above. However, the cabin was quite cold throughout the flight. I found the seats to be relatively thin and uncomfortable, and I don't know how I'd feel about spending more than 3 hours in a seat like this. The onboard menu included a wide selection of both hot and cold food and drinks, and in the back of the booklet was the onboard magazine, which offers a decent amount of duty-free goods. Not too long after, I could see the crew close the door, and we then pushed back and took off for Manchester. After takeoff, the crew started the food service where I purchased not one but two meals consisting of a pizza and a penne pomodoro pasta. The pizza tasted quite fresh and was nice and cheesy, however the portion size was a big letdown as it was smaller if not the same size as my hand, considering the price as I paid for it. On the same note, the pasta was once again very small and also a little bit bland too. For those of you wondering, wooden cutlery is also used instead of plastic, which is quite normal to see on a budget airline like this. On board this aircraft, there are 3 lavatories, meaning that they are shared between a shared 79 passengers. However, there aren't many queues during the flight, but this may have been because it was a night flight. The lavatories are quite spacious thanks to the A321neo's wider fuselage, and they were also kept quite clean. After landing, for some reason all of the windows steamed up, which was really annoying for me as I was filming, but I don't know the cause of this. Landing into Terminal 1 at Manchester Airport is honestly a nightmare these days, and I'd recommend avoiding flying in and out of it for now, as it will be closing towards the end of the year for renovations, but the airport has been delaying this year after year. In my Sun Express review, I also mentioned this, but passport control is always chaotic, with long lines due to the low number of staff working. Additionally, for anyone landing into Manchester for the first time, the first impressions from arriving through T1 are always very negative. Luckily, it's hopefully going to be renovated very soon after the new pier in Terminal 2 opens. After passport control, I headed into the baggage hall where for some reason there were bags from about 4 or 5 flights being unloaded onto 2 baggage belts, which doesn't make sense as it causes overcrowding when people could be spread out across the hall, making everything more controlled and organised. Altogether, the EasyJet experience was quite positive, and I would definitely say that it is one of the best budget airlines in Europe. Make sure to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching and happy travels.